First of all, congratulations to ITCN on its 25th anniversary. I just can't believe it. I was at the very first ITCN, and now we stand here today at the 25th anniversary. Congratulations to Dr. Khurshid Nizam, Umair Nizam, the whole team at ITCN. I think this is great. It brings us all together. There are many people I don't meet throughout the year whom I meet at ITCN. So it's just great that you have enabled this. Okay, so Sidra has started something that I'm going to continue with. There's been a lot of talk about a lot of subjects, and so I'm not going to repeat that. And I told Gibran that I will definitely not talk about AI, so I'm going to keep my word. I'm going to touch on the aspect of women. I remember when I joined the tech sector in Pakistan, I think I was one of probably a couple of women who were part of the tech sector. It was predominantly male, and there didn't seem to be any scope for women starting companies, women joining companies, women being on the board of companies, and that was something that bothered me. I didn't see why that was. And it started, I think, with, your families tell you these are professions that are women friendly. Your university or your school tells you this is not for women. And then you go into companies and they tell you, okay, you can go up to maybe mid-management level and no further, because women are not supposed to be CEOs or board directors. But why? This country is 50% women, and some of the smartest people in the country are women. By not using their capabilities, by not involving them, we are doing this country a disservice. And that is something I strongly believe. So I started, my history with Pasha, but 3.5 years ago, I started Katalyst Labs. And the main mission of Katalyst Labs was to build women leadership and to make sure that women created business networks for themselves, to make sure that they understood that there was a role for them wherever they wanted that role to be. We don't tell them that. They have to decide what are they passionate about, what is it that they want to do in life, how can we help them get there. So 3.5 years down the road, I'm happy to tell you we have met some of the most amazing women in the country who are doing great things. They keep a low profile and so people don't hear about them, but we are helping them change that. We are also working with Visa. Visa started a program called She's Next, and that actually says what they meant. They meant that women entrepreneurs are the next big thing. And that program was so successful that the Visa regional team decided that we needed to do an additional program called She's the Future. And so when we announced that program, 4,000 women who were founders applied. Can you imagine? I mean, we were shocked. We didn't understand that there were 4,000 women who were actually running businesses in this country. So of course we had a criteria, so we shortlisted them. And now we are working with about 100 women to help them get to the next level of growth. And these women are not just from Karachi, they're from 7 different cities across Pakistan. And this is just the beginning. So we're working with women in Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, Faisalabad, Hyderabad, and there's one other, Peshawar. And it's amazing what they have been able to do, and it's amazing what they will do now that they have the support, and now that they know that there are other women in Pakistan who have done great work. Some of them people hadn't heard of. So we make sure we connect them with women who have achieved something. We also connect them with male champions who are helping women get to the level where they can and where these people recognize they can. As far as IT companies are concerned, I think they have also realized that if they have women within their ranks, especially on the boards of their companies, they will see that the products and services that they produce are actually for a wider market, not just locally, but also globally. And so those companies that have done that have benefited. I also work with an organization called Women for Boards. And the whole idea is that, okay, so now women have become CEOs or women have gone into senior leadership in companies, but they should also be on the board of companies. SECP has mandated that public listed companies should have at least one woman on the board, or two now, I think they've done. So if you're a public listed company, you need to have two women on the board, and they should not be part of your family. They should not just be token women. They need to be women professionals who contribute to the growth of the company. And that is just amazing. In fact, it shouldn't be limited to two. It isn't limited, but they've said minimum should be two, but I think they should increase that number. And what Women for Boards has done is that they have published a directory, because you know what happens when people are told, companies are told, make sure you have at least two women on your board. They say, well, they don't exist. Where do we find them? And so Women for Boards has said, here's a directory of 100 women who are both professional, they are qualified, and they are board material. They have passed the PICG exam, which makes them qualified to be on your board. So now look at them, and they are from different professions, IT, education, healthcare, you name it. So there's no longer any excuse. So I'm glad people are working on different programs to make sure that diversity and inclusion becomes a real thing. The second thing I want to talk about is policy. All of us know what has happened during the past couple of weeks. Our internet slowdown, our inability to use WhatsApp or any of the other apps has made it very difficult for us, both as an IT sector as well as a startup ecosystem, to communicate with the world. In addition to causing the problems it did for us, it also causes problems to our image. Why do you think anybody would want to work with a country where they don't know when your internet will be turned off or slowed down? This is something I think all of us need to work with policymakers to make sure that they understand the impact that this has on our business, on the country's business, and also on the country's economy. This is something that has affected a lot of startups. It's affected a lot of tech companies. And product demos, they couldn't make sure that they dealt with potential customers online because the internet was not fast enough for them to do that. So I think these are things, I understand security, and I understand that's an issue. But I think if policymakers work with those of us who work in the tech sector and the startup ecosystem to make sure that the steps that they take are transparent and also that are beneficial for the country, but also don't harm the interests of business. This is very important if we are to grow this economy. The tech sector is the largest sector contributing to the economy right now, but that will not remain unless we address these issues. And so I wanted to talk about it because it is an issue, it is a problem, and we need to solve it collectively. So that's all I wanted to say. Thank you very much. It's great to be back at ITCN, and hopefully we will meet as we go and see some of the booths during the day. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, ITCN, for inviting me.